What's all in an offer? A ton of paperwork, because there seems like every few years we have more documents that we need to add to a purchase and sale agreement. We just went through another change in our Form 21, which is the primary purchase and sale agreement for residential purchase, which they've added information about the realtor's compensation and how that works now. Something that when we get into our consultation and we discuss the forms, we go into depth. But for now, I'm just going to quickly glance over. Once again, purchase and sale agreement, Form 21. This is the primary 6-page form that we use, which is basically telling the seller, hey, this is what we're willing to offer and purchase. This is the earnest money we're going to use. This is the title and escrow company we're going to use, and a variety of other information. With that, we're going to include the pre-approval letter from the lender. No seller is going to get under contract unless they have some sense that you've already done some of the legwork in preparation for buying a home. Not to mention that as a listing broker, I am going to make a phone call to said lender before we even present it to the seller. I want to talk to the lender. I want to understand who the lender is. If I personally never worked with the lender, I want to get some background on the lender. I want to know how firm and sure we are that this buyer is qualified to buy. Are they underwritten? Because there's a huge difference between pre-qualified, pre-approved, and underwritten. Pre-qualified just means that you've answered a few questions and they believe you can purchase. Pre-approved, you've gone through some credit reports. They've checked some your banking. They know that there's money in there. They've done a good portion of the pre-approval process. But underwritten is they've gone through the whole financial checkbox. They are good to go from top to bottom. They are solid. Usually the underwritten letters are stronger than a pre-approval, but a pre-approval letter is pretty strong just because maybe they just have a couple of more steps to take. Either way, pre-approval letter, pre-approved, underwritten are the best ways to go. Your financing contingency form 22A, once again, highlights what kind of lending you're using. Is it going to be conventional, FHA, USDA? Is it VA? Is it cash? Is it a combination of things? How much money you're putting down? What's the time frame before the seller needs to say, hey, where are we with financing, and a variety of other steps that are taken. Inspection contingency form 35. For the last few years, Form 35 hasn't been used a lot, and we've been waiving a lot of the inspection contingencies using Form 35W. But in the last, say, 6 to 7 months, or especially since the interest rates went up a bit, home inspections are back. Sellers are no longer really doing home inspections and providing buyers with a home inspection because now homes aren't moving as quickly. And on top of it, buyers have a little more strength now in their purchase and sale agreements where they can say, I want to do my own home inspection. I want to use my own inspector. I want to walk the property while doing a home inspection to ensure that I know what's wrong with the home. Utility addendum form 22K. This is just to let you, the buyer, and escrow really know what are the utility companies associated with that property. Is it Puget Sound Energy, Seattle Lighting, who's the gas company, the sewer company, or is it on septic, the water company, things of that nature, because escrow does call all the companies to get payoffs before closing. Recording clause form 22Y. This is just a really nice form. It saves all parties from one side or the other terminating. It's if at the county level on the day of closing, they don't record at the county. But yet everything else is done. Funds have been distributed. Everything's been done. The only thing that we need is the county to record. So what this means is basically says if we don't record on the night of closing, it just shifts to the next business day. But otherwise, no one can terminate because of it. Lead-based paint addendum of Form 22J. This is for any home that was built before 1978. It is known that houses prior to that the paint had lead-based paint. Now, if you, the buyer, and your family have any issues with this, what we traditionally will do, we'll stay away from homes built before 1978. And we'll just really stick with properties built 1979, 1980 or younger, because it just makes better sense. Seller disclosure form 17, that is basically when the seller fills out a 6-page form detailing what they know about the property. There's a bunch of questions in there where they say yes, no, don't know. Some of them require additional information that they add to it, but it's something that you and I will go over in detail so we're sure we understand it, so that if we do go under contract and then we do have questions about it, we then have 3 days to respond. Buyer brokerage firm compensation form 41C. This is a new form that we use now in conjunction with form 21 because we as real estate brokers, we get paid a commission from the listing. And so when we have a scenario where maybe the buyer is getting some sort of compensation from us as the buyer's broker, or let's say that the seller is not offering commission, or they're not offering the same type of commission where you and I have contracted in a buyer's agreement. This is the form we use to notify the seller of said compensation requirements. Multiple agents form 42A. This is a form that Marissa and I use extensively because we work together on a lot of transactions, probably God knows how many transactions together, because we represent so many buyers. We do the home buyers class, so we work with a lot of buyers to include listings. And so we use a form 42A to acknowledge to all parties that there's 2 of us. Because on form 21, it usually is only going to be 1 broker showing on that. Form 42A just acknowledges there's a second broker so that you, the buyers, the sellers, the listing broker, the escrows, everybody, the lender know that there's 2 of us and we both can answer any and all questions that are part of the transaction.